Hi everybody, it's Margaret here with 60andMe. Hope that you're doing great today. Thank you so much for being here. This topic today is one that's very near and dear to my heart. It's how we define ourselves as we get older and, being true to ourselves. And often I've talked about, choosing words that describe us and then how we apply that in all areas of our lives, how we align ourselves with the words that we describe ourselves with. And I think when people ask me kind of what are the words that would describe you, I always say the 3 C's. I say compassionate, creative, and curious. Those are the words. I am a curious person, creative person. It's been a guiding light all of my life. And I really feel like knowing that those are the 3 words that describe me gives me a strength of a definition. Now, one of our bloggers, Douglas Cooper, wrote this article on 6 keys to being creative at any age. And in a way, creativity and curiosity go together. I think they're kind of the same. And then compassion is like the underlying spirit of it. And I don't think you can be compassionate and not be creative, because it erases all judgment, and compassion is unconditional. And I really love that kind of sense of compassion being linked to curiosity and creativity as a whole. So he talks about this linkage between these 3 things, and a quote from Leo Burnett. It's a really cool quote. "Curiosity about life in all its aspects is still the secret of great creative people." So by encouraging our curiosity, we can then engage more deeply with our creativity. And it doesn't have to be like creative painting or writing, or it doesn't have to be some, applied art where we see the result of our creativity. It's seeing things with a creative lens, by appreciating innovation, by embracing things that are different, and, experimenting with how you can take them into your life and apply them. He actually talks about a book. Oh, by the way, he reminds us that children are a perfect example of this. They are just able to be creative in almost any circumstance. And I love how children can almost shut their eyes and see things. They can actually be so creative in bringing things together. Like, this isn't really physically what they say it is, but they can see it. They have an imagination that shows them another dimension of that thing. There is a super creative. But the creative mindset test is something that Douglas talks about. The guy who wrote it, Mr. Hoover, wrote a book called Born Creative, Free Your Mind. And it's a 5-question test to sort of gauge your creative mindset. And if you can answer these questions like yes and no, it tells you how much of a creative mindset you actually have. So I'm going to go through these 5 different, or I think there may be 6, but this test has got 5 questions about yes, no. Okay, so here we go. Do you solve problems by drawing on diverse ideas or knowledge? So in other words, when you have a problem to solve, do you get creative? Do you look at different ways of doing it? Yes or no? Okay. Second is, do you often ask questions that challenge assumptions? Like, what if we did that? Or is it possible to do this? Or has anybody ever done, like, do you ask those kinds of questions? Third one is observing. Do you get innovative ideas by watching how people behave? So do you see, if somebody, wow, that's interesting. Why are they doing it that way? What if I was to suggest this, or invent that, or do something different? Do you get inspired by other people's behavior? Do you see ideas of your own generating? The thing about the 4th one is idea networking. So basically, the answer was yes or no there. Do you frequently interact with a diverse set of people? Yes or no? And what that's basically saying is, do you have friends who are different than you? Do you have people in your life who have different opinions than you? Are you close to those people, not because of what they believe or because you just find them interesting people despite their beliefs? That's the question. I've made it a longer question, but do you frequently interact with diverse set of people? Yes or no? And then experimenting. The question is, do you try to create new methods, new ways of doing things? I'm trying to think, there was an example of that where there was something I was doing and I did it a different way, and I thought that's much more efficient to do it that way. And so developing, extending something that you're doing. Do you try to create new methods for doing things, new ways? So those are 5 questions. Associational thinking, questioning, observing, idea networking, and experimenting. Those are the 5 areas that you can determine, really. Do you have a creative mindset if you answered yes to most of those questions? Or do you tend to say no, like, no, I don't have a group of people that are diverse, or no, I really don't try to create new methods for doing things or get inspired by people doing things differently. So if you answered yes to most of them, you've got a creative mindset. If you answered no to some of them, Mr. Hoover is there to help you, what he says, increase your creative muscle. And I do believe this is so true that, you know, you don't start off necessarily being the creative wonder. You start off by having an open mind to those 5 different areas, like, you know, different people, different methods, different ways of doing things, and being prepared to adapt and to change. I was reading an article about people who live long and healthy lives. They did some studies as to what were some of the qualities of those people who've lived through, like, you know, 30 recessions and many world wars and lots of presidents. And, you know, the one thing that they all had in common was their ability to adapt. And I think that that's a really, really powerful word when you think about being able to adapt to whatever's going on. And sometimes it's not very pleasant. Sometimes it's not it's not the situation that you wanted, but by being creative and accepting change, you know, accepting change and creating a new way of doing things, that's the, you know, that's the way. The other is to actually create an I am list. And I think it's a really interesting exercise where it's basically, you say, I am these things. I am a good artist. I'm a good thinker. I'm a good, you know, friend. I'm a good, you know, whatever. You can just fill it, I am, and just start reinforcing in your mind the things that you are, the things that you can do well. And then to go ahead and brainstorm those ideas with a community, with people that are like-minded. And I really love that idea because, you know, 60andMe, of course, as a community is there for that very purpose. And it's like you can get creative ideas by just listening to other people's creative ideas and then build on them. And I've always loved that statement about creativity where if you talk to someone and you say, I've got a really good idea for this. And you know, I think I'm going to make a new type of bread, whatever. That wouldn't be me, but you know, I'm going to cook this recipe in a different way. And then somebody says, but you know, that's not such a good idea. You know, the old way works. Then you know that they've started by taking you away from your creative moment. But if someone says, that's interesting, and you could actually put this on the top, and you could, have you thought about adding pineapple? That would be really cool. You know, it's like the people that say and then follow on with an idea are your creative thinkers. Those are the ones that are willing to let you dive into something that's a little bit different and, you know, to be unique. This is actually really, this is a great article, by the way, by Douglas, and I encourage you to read it because he's always got so much research in the things he does. But he uses this novelty word for creativity called scamper. And it's not spelt like the scamper that you might use. It's scamper is substitute things, combine, adapt, magnify, modify, and, you know, put to another use. Is that the R? Oh, by rearranging and reversing. So that, I think that was spelled scamper with 2 R's. But it's all those qualities of adapting, of modifying, of thinking outside the box, combining things that makes you feel more creative and act more creatively. So harness your creative courage. Maybe that would be another C word that I would use for myself, is courage. I think you have to have a courageous spirit in order to be 60 plus years old. And so I think a courageous attitude, and along with compassion, creativity, curiosity, that would be me, I suppose. But what are your words? And how are you a creative person? Are you a creative person? A lot of people say, oh, I haven't got a creative bone in my body. I'm not creative. But you look at their actions and you say they are. So I'd love to know, put in the comment section below, maybe some words that describe you and whether or not you think you are a creative person or a courageous person. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Hope that you're doing well. I am by your side on this journey. Take really good care of yourself, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye for now.